Good evening and you're welcome to Business and Enterprise. My name is Colm Colgan and hopefully you'll find something that will help you running your business in tonight's programme. Now, the last exhibition I exhibited at, I threw down a bit of fake green grass, put my outdoor wheelchair on it and waited for people to come. Needless to say, they didn't come because I obviously didn't make that much of an effort. What I should have done is contacted my next guest first, and he's Gerry Langan and his company name is formulaonecarhire.ie, and I suppose the name says it all. In a nutshell, he rents out a Formula One car that will turn up at your event. Gerry, you're very welcome, and thanks for taking the time to come to us.
Thanks very much.
First of all, before we start talking about Formula One, tell us a little about Gerry Langan.
Well, I was, as you probably get from my accent, I wasn't born in Ireland. My parents are Irish, though. They're living in England, and I'm living back in Ireland. I'm married with one child, and we have another one on the way.
Congratulations.
So, a bit of news there. It's not exclusive. A few people know about it already. But
it's known worldwide, yeah?
It's known worldwide. We're looking forward to that. That's it. The baby's due in July. So basically, I came to Cavan about 8 years ago now. I've been in Ireland probably 18 years. About 2.5 years ago, then I started my business, Formula One car.
What had you done before that?
What I was, previous 12 years, I was a sales rep, business developer for Georgia Pacific.
Paper,
yeah. You know the Kittensoft brands, Inversoft brands.
A big jump from Kittensoft. Well, I suppose no bigger of a jump than Nokia did, I suppose.
Well, exactly, yeah, exactly. That's just true as well. But no, it actually was the biggest private company in the world, Georgia Pacific. It's owned by the Koch brothers in America, huge company. But with the recession, there was redundancy offered, and I could see the way things were going, which I wasn't too sure about. So I seen an opportunity, and I had the wherewithal when I had the redundancy money I wanted to go on my own for a long time. And basically, I just seen this opportunity. I seen it in the UK, and I seen that nobody was doing it in Ireland. So with my redundancy money, then I set up the business. But, that's it. Basically, we have to do something.
I said there's nothing like seeing a project in action. So maybe we'll just have a quick look at the car itself, and then we'll kind of talk over it.
No problem. And they're an exact replica of that year's. Our car is a 2010 Formula One car. You see the car racing on the screen, but the car itself is an exact replica. But it's got real F1 parts, real F1 wheels, F1 tyres.
F1 engine?
No engine.
No engine.
No engine. Yeah. It's basically the same, apart from no engine or gearbox. It doesn't actually drive.
Yeah.
But to look at, they're stunning.
The wheels don't move, no?
The wheels don't move, obviously they move when you're getting it in on site. But when you're in the simulator, you feel like it's moving. You can, there's force feedback through the steering, through the pedals, and the car you see on the screen, you're feeling that as you're going around each corner. On the computer system itself as well, we have nearly every racetrack in the world, including the Top Gear track off the BBC. So it's a realistic simulation of driving a Formula One car. It's a fantastic experience.
So you have every race, like you have the Phoenix Park, which was kind of up to last year was the only road in Ireland.
It was actually. We've done the Phoenix Park just because it was never actually. There's been historic racing there, but it's basically mainly based on what Formula One tracks we've had. The only one I haven't got on it, and more than Phoenix Park, is Mondello, which of course is Ireland's main racetrack. But we have just about every other racetrack on the world, all the famous ones at least. You know, Monaco, Silverstone, etc. You know, they're all on there.
And then when you have people who want it on their premises,
yes,
do they just sit there? Can people look at it, or do you let the people actually sit in and do the screen, or are they only for kind of particular people?
No, what we do, we have two forms of the business. One is we'll bring the car to, say, a public event. It could be the Ploughing Championships, it could be in a main shopping centre, and we would then charge a fee for people to have a go in the simulator. The second thing would be to rent to businesses where, for instance, if the car was in a car dealership, they might be doing an open weekend, and say for a Saturday and Sunday, and anybody who's visiting that dealership for that open weekend can get in the car, simulate a drive, and feel the excitement of Formula One. What adds to the excitement is we have a Top Gear leaderboard, so people try to set the fastest lap, and the principal or whoever owns the dealership may give a prize then to the fastest driver, and it creates a great sense of excitement in that dealership. There's a Formula One car there, it can be branded in the dealership's colours or whoever hires the car, and everyone, it's a great experience, and it's great fun as well. It's great fun for us when we're operating it with the reaction we get.
Does it just go on the back of a truck and ends up at the site, or is it actually getting it from A to B? Does that cause its own problems?
What we do is we have it's quite a process, but we have a large racing trailer. So I will, if say it's hired to a hotel, we will drive the car. The trailer will bring the car there. We'll unload the car from the trailer into the venue. We'll then set the car up, and away we go then. That's the way it is. But a lot of the work is involved is getting it to and fro. We need a certain amount of access to get the car in and out of wherever it's hired to at the time. But we have ways and means of getting into every venue that we can.
And what are some of the venues that you've appeared in?
We have appeared in everything from a major shopping centre. We were in Blanchardstown Shopping Centre for 6 weeks, to various car dealerships. We were at some big events. We were at the Ploughing Championships, up to a nightclub in Donegal. The car's been in different places, and we've featured on the news a few times and things like that.
Good bits of the news or bad bits of the news?
Good bits of the news, yeah. We've had the odd celebrity getting out of the car.
That's a hell of a range from the Ploughing Championship, with obviously hundreds of thousands of people, to a night. Well, I was say a nightclub in Donegal with a couple of hundred.
Yeah.
But I've been in nightclubs in Donegal. For some reason, they pack thousands.
Well, this is it. Well, the example I would give there, say at the Ploughing Championships, you would be showing the car. You'd be charging a small amount for the people to get in and have a go in the car. But you would be showing off the car then. Hopefully businesses would pick up the idea, and they might use the car then as a platform for promoting themselves with the car at their premises. But in all cases, we bring the car to the customer. We brand the car. If they want their branding on it, it can be anything from a logo to a full body wrap. But it's a great way of getting a message out. One of the best applications we have is on an exhibition stand. It's fantastic. If you're in the RDS on an exhibition stand, everybody will gravitate towards the F1 car, and when you can tell them they can go in it as well, it's a great grab, and especially if the company who's hiring you, their message is on the side of it. It's a great advertising platform as well, because as I say, it looks stunning, and
because motorsport is one of them sports that everybody has some interest in it. I would have an interest in it. Now, my brother-in-law could tell you who came fifth in a race 6 years ago. I couldn't even tell you who the World Championship is. But if it's on, I would like to look at it. As I said, the reason I mentioned the park is when I lived in Dublin, we only lived around the corner from the Phoenix Park, and she had to go up to it because she couldn't sleep because the noise from the park was incredible.
Well, some people are fanatical about it, and everybody at an event will ask me, you must be a fanatical to have this car. And I was always a follower of motorsport, of Formula One. I was never fanatical about it, but I always had a keen interest in it. And when I seen this opportunity, I thought, there's no other Formula One car of its type in Ireland. We're the only people in the 32 counties that can offer this car and the experience of people sitting in a Formula One car, and actually, although it's static, sitting in it, and they feel like they driving that car. And we've probably had, in terms of the last 2.5 years since we started the business, we think we've had about 10,000 people in the car.
Wow! And
I've had one person who said they didn't really enjoy it out of 10,000 people, which is not bad. So it's a good experience. No, some people, if you're at a public show and they think, they've got to pay to get in it, they're thinking, is it worth it? But nobody's got out of it and said it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
In many cases, they'll try to get back in to get top of that leaderboard to win a prize and experience the Formula One car.
Now, is it a franchise of a big international organisation? Is it officially tied up with F1, or is this your own idea?
No, well, there is operators in across Europe, but I'm completely independent. There's no franchise fees. I bought the car and all the associated equipment with running the business, but in terms of, I bought the car from Silverstone, where it's the main manufacturer for full-size replica Formula One cars. And I have the rights to sell those in Ireland, as well as operating my own one in our business. And the reason I took the distributor rights as well was just to give me some sort of protection in terms of at least being the first person to basically run the car as a rental business.
And the last thing you wanted was you to do all the donkey work, iron out all the things, get it running smoothly, exactly. And then somebody hops in on your coattails.
Well, that is it, and you know, I just, as I say, it's sort of pioneering in that it's the only one of its type in the country.
Now you're at it 2.5 years now. 2.5 years ago we were kind of smack into our depression, recession. I can't remember what word we used in these days. And of all, whatever about starting up a new business that kind of, even, would I be saying border than luxury from a spending point of view?
There is obviously there's a glamorous side to Formula One, but it's a great way of businesses at a low cost to be associated with the glamour of Formula One. If they're officially associated with Formula One at the racetracks, it's a multi-million-pound operation. For a very small amount compared to that, a business can have their name on the car at an event or at their own event and be associated with Formula One. It's a very prestigious thing to have your name attached to it at an event in a low cost way compared to actual Formula One itself, which is obviously millions of pounds.
Now, if my brother-in-law was here, who would know all these things, if there was a Formula One car there and your replica was there, are they practically identical?
You couldn't tell the difference. They're exactly the same. And in fact, the reason they're realistic is our car has real F1 parts in it. Even the wheels, people, they like touching the wheels when they see the car, just to see, oh wow, that's amazing. It's very tactile for people to come and look at the car and touch the car and rub the car. And because it's got so many real F1 parts in it, it's indistinguishable. It's to the same measurements, the same dimensions, the same cockpit. It's exactly the same. So when you see,
is it as expensive as?
It's not quite as expensive as you're talking about. A real F1 car would be worth upwards of £3 million.
You got yours bargain for 2.5 million.
Mine's a bit less than that. Yeah. You can take at least a couple of million off that.
but again, how come yours is so much cheaper? Well, if everything is bar the engine.
Well,
bar the bits that work.
Well, the engine. Well, the thing is, if you're in a static car which is replicating a drive, that's obviously a lot different to having to drive one round a track with the engine and gearbox and what have you. I mean, say a disc brake on a Formula One car is £10,000 just for the disc brake. Obviously my car doesn't need disc brakes, it's in a static position, but that's just an example that you don't need that. No one will ever see the disc on it. But, you know, a real Formula One could be 10 to even 15,000 for the carbon fibre. It can be very expensive. So there's obviously a lot of, like the engine as well, you're talking about maybe hundreds of thousands of pounds for an engine. It's a very expensive business for a real one. When you're in our simulator, you don't need an engine. You can hear a lot of noise. We have surround sound, and also with the pedal system and the steering, you can feel it. There's force feedback through the thing, so as well as the noise and that, it gives you a realistic variation.
A super version of the kids' PlayStation.
Yeah.
At once, I don't know. My kids have moved out of this stage, so I don't know anymore. But at one stage, the PlayStation, when you pressed the button and something moved on the screen, you felt it in your hands.
Yeah, well,
maybe we just had a faulty model.
It sounds like a good model you had. It sounds like a good model. Well, actually, one thing we'd be up against sometimes at a public show is you would get someone, oh, that's just a PlayStation. And what we would say in that case is, get in the car, have a go in it, and when you get out of the car, tell me if it was like your PlayStation. And the reaction's very different when they get out of our car. But it would be like a super PlayStation, I suppose, if you could look at it that way. But it's much more realistic, because as well as the full effects, you've also got the psychological, that you're sitting in this car, you see the real F1 wheels in front of you, and you've got that track on that screen in front of you, and you can feel every bump of that track as you're driving that car around with the gaming that we have in it. Yeah. So it's very advanced, and as I said, the good few thousand people we've had in the car, only one person, I think. So if I could have that for the next 10,000, I'd take that right now. You know.
And do you have groupies, for want of a better word? Do you have people who follow you at each event?
We
in the same way
yeah.
Daniel O'Donnell, I one of these singers, people
Yeah.
I've been at a million Daniel O'Donnell concerts,
Yeah.
and they will follow him everywhere. Do
Yeah.
people get such a kick out of being in your car that they find out where you are? I won't say stalk you, but just kind of turn up for another go.
We do. Through our Facebook page, we have some drivers at events, and we'll announce if we're coming to an event, if we've a feeling that some of our followers are going to it. And we've had before a little bit of banter, so to speak, between potential drivers on Facebook saying, I'm going to beat your time at the next event. And that's great for getting a bit of excitement going at the thing. So yeah, we do have some followers. We've also had most up-and-coming semi-professional, professional racing drivers in the car. I mean, we've had Craig Green, a well-known rally driver, we've had him in the car, and we've had Andrew Watson and Niall Murray, they're two of Ireland's top up-and-coming racing drivers. They've been in the car, and they've been in it time and time again because they love the experience.
Yeah.
And they're real racing drivers.
So it would be one thing for me to sit in it and say, whoa, this feels like a motor car. But the actual guys who drive it either for a living or as their number one hobby get into it, and they say this is very realistic as well.
Well, you can actually set the gaming, you can set it harder and harder for the general public or for a general hire. For a company who's hiring it for their staff event or whatever, we would leave it at a reasonable level. But for the professional drivers, you can make it as difficult as you want in terms of anti-lock braking. That can be simulated, and traction control. You can make them. You can put them to a difficult level. That's a real challenge for a driver.
If I decided to have a career change and I wanted to become a rally driver, stop smirking, and said, right, could I train to become a car driver?
Yeah.
On that, your simulator.
Yeah, well, we heard there's a racing driver called Jason Plato. He presents Fifth Gear in Britain, and I heard when I bought the car that before he'd go out on the real track in Silverstone, he'd get in a car the same as ourselves, have it set as close as he can, and he would do practice laps, go out onto the track and get in the real car and drive it. It got him in the frame of mind, with the track and all that. So we've had, let's say, professional drivers have used it as a training tool. So it's knowing that it's a great way for normal people who wouldn't have usually had that chance of experience to have a go in it.
Now you said you have all the racetracks and circuits programmed into it. Could you program anything into it? Say, could you do the road from here to Ballyborough?
Well, maybe not the road from here to Ballyborough, although it might get you home quicker, Colm. What you can do, we can download the latest tracks. So if there's a new track built somewhere in the world, we can download it onto the system.
Yeah.
So it's not something that dates. You can bring it forward. So if there's a new track, we had Bahrain, which was just put on there a couple of years ago, and we had that uploaded. So we can always keep that fairly fresh. If we're doing a hire to if a company's hiring it, as say for a motivational event or for a staff event, we tend to leave it on a reasonable, easy track that people can do a few laps, and the normal Joe Soap like ourselves can get used to it, and then they can set a fastest lap. Then what they do when they get in the car, we would set it at say 5 laps. They'll have 5 timed laps, and it's the fastest lap then is recorded, and we would put that on our leaderboard. And that's what then creates the competition. So it's great for motivational for staff at events as well, and because you get competition going between people as well. So.
Do you have the one car, or do you have more than one car?
We have. I have one car here based here in Ireland, which is my own one. If we need to, I have access up to about another 7 or 8 from similar companies to myself in the UK.
Could you link them together and have them on a real-time race on a big screen?
You can have real-time gaming. Yeah, you can do that. You could have a car in Dublin. You could have a car in Birmingham. You could have a car in Cork.
Of course, they wouldn't have to be side by side.
Exactly. And they can race each other online. Yeah. But if we do need more than one car, we have the company similar to myself. I have easygoing relationships with them. That's if we need 2 or 3 cars, we'll work that out, and we can do that. So yes, if
I wish I had that relationship with my competitor. I need a couple of F1 cars. They'll be over there tomorrow. Don't you worry, Gerry.
Well, if there's a company that wants 7 F1 cars, we can arrange that as well. There's always one car based here in Ireland.
We might have a couple of photographs of some of it of some of your cars in actions and in situ.
Okay. Yes, on the right there, you'll see the car in some Renault colours, completely different to the centre one.
Now, who's the Dally Bird driving it? Sorry for
we'll have actually the Dolly Bird there is actually Glenda Gilson. Would you believe that? Yeah, that was a,
well spotted.
That was a Toys for Big Boys show. She got in, and she was actually really good in it.
I didn't know she was one of the. Oh, sorry,
She had to go in it there, and that's the trailer there. We bring we transport the car in. We also have a marquee, so we can do this outside as well. So during the summer at country shows or whatever event, we can do that as well. Inside or outside, we can cater for that. Again, that's a local company, PJ Madden there in Moyne Hall. He hired the car. We have Sam Maguire on the car there. Some of the Dublin GEA team had to go in it as well.
I knew there was Sam Maguire there. I knew Cavan had more.
That's why the Sam was there. So we had great fun with them. In that case there, that was a car dealership that was doing an open event.
Yeah.
Had the GEA team there. We had the Formula One car, and their messages were on the car. Again, you see that there. That's an Irish motor show. We had that there.
Is there as much in?
That there is a Christmas event for Hayes Recruiting. We did that in a Dublin hotel. So we brought the car into the lobby of the hotel. All
James Bond in it,
James Bond. We call that the James Bond picture. Yeah, that's what
absolutely. Does motorsport have the following it used to have?
Well, Formula One is huge.
Sorry, in Ireland.
In Ireland,
yeah, I know worldwide it's massive.
Yeah, it's massive. Of course, because we have Eddie Jordan still presenting from on UK television, we still have him. We still have an Irish.
That's his only involvement.
That's his. Yeah, well, he was ex-team owner. That's his main involvement. We have up-and-coming drivers in other classes. To get to Formula One is obviously a big step. Of course, motorsport is huge in Ireland in terms of rallying, motorbike road racing and things like that. They're huge, but it still gets a massive following. We get people coming to us, and they could be fanatical about it, telling us the latest drivers, information I won't know. No, there's definitely a keen interest out there, and of course it's pumped through the media the whole time worldwide. So there's an interest in every country, and there's definitely an interest in Ireland
because there is huge marketing involved in it.
There's huge marketing, and as I say, I'd bring that back to a company that hires our car. If it's at an event or on an exhibition stand, when their name is on our car, they're being associated with Formula One. They'll have the pictures there forever. They'll have the pictures on their website. It's a great way, in a cost-effective way.
Does Glenda come with every car that you...
Glenda...
you have to supply your own Glenda.
You supply your own Glenda or supply a few more euro, and we can arrange that as well. But Glenda was really good.
The Formula One itself is seasonal. It's off-season now, isn't it?
It's off-season now.
When it comes back, is there a big boost then to your business?
Yes.
Or is your business pretty much an all year round?
Our business is all year round. We're a little quiet maybe in January. We're busy up to Christmas because a lot of firms hire the car for their own events, for their own staff, and for their own clients and customers. But yeah, the interest would peak obviously when the season's on because people have it in their minds the whole time. But sometimes people have made a note of it and they've contacted us for an event maybe 6 months into the future, and when they've been looking at it on the TV. So we try and use that in the off season, but generally it's over the year. It's not really seasonal. We would get busier up to Christmas. We're busy during the summer.
Yeah.
So.
What events have you got coming up?
We've got a couple of private corporate events. One event we've got there next weekend is a company has hired it for their exhibition stand, and again they're in City West. It's actually the 16th of February. That exhibition.
What exhibition is it?
It's actually a tool companies that do tools and machinery.
Yeah.
And they've hired the car so they're going to have the best stand.
Yeah.
Everyone at that exhibition will head towards that stand.
What does it do? The where?
In City West.
No, the tool company.
The tool company that's hiring us is, and you've caught me out there, it's P. O'Brien.
P. O'Brien,
Tux O'Brien is their new
They
name,
used to, well no, it's probably a while since you had 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
They used to turn up at the big builders providers, show off a few tools, have the car there. It was a car. There was no simulator, there was no nothing.
Yeah.
You could sit and take a picture in it, and there was somebody selling sausage or not selling, giving away hot dogs at the same time.
Well, exactly what they did. They hired us before. They've hired. This is our second hire to them. The first hire, they had an open day at their premises, so their clients came in and they experienced the car and had great fun. And I think they gave away a television for the fastest driver.
Yeah.
They're now called Tux O'Brien. Actually, they've changed, and for this exhibition stand now, it'll attract a lot of attention. Also, on a stand like that, because we take the name of people as they get into the car, we can also data collect. So we can take a name and email address, so that company can also have a list of who's getting in and out of the car. We keep that for our competition board as well. So there's data there for the companies as well. So they can follow that up,
And how do you get business?
We've tried 3 ways.
Hardly ring up and say, "Hello, we'd like to hire a car."
We've done that. I think.
Yeah,
I think you have to do that in every business now. It doesn't just come to you. There'd be 3 ways I would look at it. First of all, the public shows we would do as a way of attracting. Okay, people pay to get in the car, but business people, other people would see the car there, and we get hires from that. Second of all would be literally people hearing about us just through word of mouth. People have enjoyed the experience. We've had a few people come into that. They said, "My friend was in this car. It's fantastic. I want to hire that for my business." Second of all is, as we said, it's the old hard route of it's cold calling and knocking on doors, trying to make people aware of it. And third of all is we'd get a good bit of contact through our website, formulaonecarhire.com. We get a lot of people who would be browsing that. We've had phone calls from across Europe.
Is it expensive promotional to put on?
It's like in a recession we're there to do business. So considering what you get, it's actually reasonable.
And has that recession affected your pricing?
We are aware that money's hard to come by, whether it's an individual hiring us, whether it's a show, or whether it's a company. With spend, every company is watching its spend. But for a small amount, they will get a lot of publicity for it. Everyone, as I say, they will. If you're at an event with a lot of different things at it, the car attracts a lot of attention. People say, "That's a Formula One car. What's this about? Is it the company's Formula One car?" We let them take ownership of it.
Yeah.
So if a company is hired, it's their Formula One car for the day, for all intents and purposes. So no, the pricing is very reasonable. I think it is for what you get. We're keener price than any of the operators I know of in the UK, and if anyone sees an operator in the UK and they want to hire it from there or anywhere else, I'll beat that price. I won't lose out on price. But it's a prestigious thing. It's a Formula One car, and if you have a business and you're associated with Formula One, it's cost effective to have that on your business.
Very good. And just before we go, anyone watching wants to contact you, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, through our website, it's probably the best thing. It's Formula One Car Hire, as in ONE, it's spelled out, formulaonecarhire.ie. We're also known as formulaonecarhire.com. You'll find us on there. If you want to reach me in Cavan, it's 049 432 3889, and you'll come through to me in the office for that.
Okay, Gerry Langan of Formula One Car Hire, thank you very much for taking the time to come into us here on Business and Enterprise. Well, that's it for this week. I will remind you again that tomorrow night, that's Thursday the 24th, there is a free information event run by Cavan Chamber of Commerce, and it is in the Imperial on Main Street there in Cavan, and its theme is productivity and positivity, and there'll be something there that everybody should listen to and learn about. So that's it for myself, Colm Colgan. Thank you for listening. Talk to you next week. Goodbye, good luck, and take care. Bye-bye.